Hello and welcome back to another episode of Why So Sidious, a Nerd podcast. Joining me today are my co-hosts, David and Andy, and we are covering Fallout Season 2. We had a great time covering the first season, so we're bringing it back. We got Andy this time. And don't forget to check out some of our other episodes. Our Night of the Seven Kingdoms coverage of the first 3 episodes is out. And stay tuned for that finale coverage, episode 5. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, baby.
We, of course, have our Weekend Geeks coming out weekly. And our gaming streams, Andy is joining in on this. So Andy's going to be doing a little Spider-Man 2 streaming, and I will be continuing my Ghost of Yote. Probably only got like 2 streams left before I maybe put a poll up on YouTube, see what game you guys want me to play next. And we do have a very special episode coming out soon with our guest James Caan, the author of My Jedi Memoir, A Double Life, and the novelization of many classic movies, Return of the Jedi, E.T., Poltergeist, Indiana Jones, The Goonies. And Andy, when is that going to be coming out on all the platforms?
So that's going to be dropping 8 p.m. PST, Sunday the 1st of March on YouTube. So make sure you're tuning in for that. And then it'll be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere else the following morning, 8 a.m. PST, Monday the 2nd of March. So tune in for that. It's a great episode. Biggest guest we've ever had on the show.
Awesome. Yeah, don't forget to check us out on social media at Why So Sidious Pod, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review. Check out that merch store, of course, as well. And before we get into the episode, let's do a quick game of Would You Rather.
So I've got some questions for you boys. Inspired by a show that popped up on my TikTok and Instagram feed quite a lot. They do some brutal would you rather. So I've tailored this to be more fandom based. I thought we could have a laugh with this. So David, you're up first on this one, buddy. So would you rather get caught taking a shit and blocking up the personal toilet of Darth Sidious and incur his wrath? Or would you rather get caught by Episode 3 Anakin Skywalker in bed with a pregnant Padme?
Oh, no.
So would I rather lose my head or be fried to death?
Which scenario you're going to get killed either way, aren't you? So which scenario for you would be the better one to get caught in?
No, I'm going the Anakin scenario. At least I was in bed with Padme before getting my head chopped off. Okay, scenario with Palpatine, I just blocked a toilet up. So give me the head cut off.
Fair enough. Caleb.
That was actually a very good point by Dave. I didn't think about the whole being in bed with Padme first. It's not a bad way to go out. But
imagine the satisfaction though of taking a dump in Sidious's toilet.
That is true. And you might be able to get your way out of it, just tell him it was an accident. You'll fix it for him.
It was an accident.
Your arse fell into the toilet seat and you just accidentally shit everywhere. It's fine.
You and Palpatine probably had the same dinner. He might be feeling the same way if you're out there on the Death Star together.
Oh, those dodgy Coruscant tacos, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, Caleb, for you, would you rather gaslight Yelena into believing that her sister Natasha is still alive, her believe you, and then find out it's not true? Or would you rather reanimate Aunt May's corpse so she's perfectly alive and normal, only to have her constantly attack Peter Parker until he has no choice but to break his no-kill rule?
Sorry, a little thrown off there. It is also dumping snow outside, so we'll see how this goes. Both of them are pretty messed up, but I feel like reanimating Aunt May's corpse is a little bit too far for me. So I guess I'll gaslight Yelena.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, David. This one I think this is the beauty of a one. It's Lord of the Rings based just for you, buddy. Would you rather? Sorry, this one's horrific.
Oh God!
Would you rather be Saruman getting a blowjob from the lead Orokai, finishing on their face, and that be the new white mark of Saruman, or would you rather fuck Saruman from behind in his chambers while Saruman watches you through the Palantir, telling you how he likes it?
I don't think it's coincidence that our audience number went from 22 when you started that to 1 by the time you finished the hypothetical scenario. I blacked out in the middle of the second option.
Oh, do I have to repeat them both?
No, you don't.
I told you these were messed up.
I feel maybe you do. I don't know what you ended the second one with. I was going to say the second one, but I'm
Okay,
not very
I'll
confident
repeat
with
it
that.
for the-
Yeah, I mean, just the second half of the second one. Go for
Oh no, I'll repeat it all because it's hilarious.
it. God forbid.
Okay. Would you rather be Saruman getting a blowjob from the lead Orokai, finishing on their face, and that be the new white mark of Saruman? Or would you rather fuck Saruman from behind in his chambers while Saruman watches you through the Palantir and telling you how he likes it?
I see why I blacked out the first time through now. Jesus. What a lose-lose scenario. Who thinks of these? What is happening in the UK that these are the scenarios that come into your mind, sir? I'll go with number 2.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Caleb. It doesn't get any better,
God.
to be fair.
Good luck, lub.
There's more.
Would you rather get caught by Batman wanking on the inside of his batsuit, or would you rather get caught by Doctor Doom wanking on the inside of his mask?
Well, Batman, of course. I mean, that would be an honor.
And Doom will probably kill you, whereas Batman probably won't.
Yeah. He'll probably like bring me in and as some troubled child.
And if you become the new Robin after that.
Yeah.
Okay, last ones. Just to wind this down. So
I don't believe you.
So David, would you rather Wonder Woman use the lasso of truth on you, where you reveal that you and the Flash had a threesome with her, but she didn't know because you both moved at super speed, or tell your current wife and soon-to-be kid that you're leaving them so you can marry Thanos?
So, rape or I have to. I mean, that's what you described with the Wonder Woman there. Let's be honest. It didn't sound very consensual.
But you're getting it nightly from Thanos, and you've got to leave your wife and kid for him.
Yeah, I'll go number 1.
Okay, there we go. Okay, love, your last one. Star Wars based one for you. So, would you rather dump?
Can you hear Andy?
Oh no, I thought I dropped.
No, I think Andy dropped.
I was like, weird. It still shows I have internet, but I clearly dropped because it's dead silent. Andy's
yeah,
gone.
Yeah,
There he goes.
There he is.
Out of everyone, my internet's playing up. That's fun. Cool. Sorry,
I start over?
I'll repeat that, love. Yeah. Would you rather dump all the injured clones from the Clone Wars into the desert on Tatooine with no food and water, sarcastically saying, "Thanks for your service, boys," or tell the injured clones they're going home to Kamino, but drop them in the sea after all the cities have been destroyed in Bad Batch, there was no one to rescue them?
Oh man. I'll do the first one, I guess, because they do have a chance to survive at least. Both of them are pretty messed up, but yeah.
Okay, there we go. That's it, gentlemen. Thank you for playing the most random game I've ever come up with.
Wonderful warm up.
Yeah, we're ready to go now. Baby.
Hey.
All right, well, this is your official spoiler warning for Fallout Season 2. We're going to go through, talk about the characters, kind of what happened with them throughout the season, then wrap it up with the finale and talk about Season 3 a little bit, maybe give a rating and review. But a quick summary to start out. So Fallout expands on the conflict from survival to war as Lucy uncovers Hank's Vault-Tec control chip conspiracy tied to the Enclave. Maximus fractures from the Brotherhood amid eternal power struggles and the truth behind Shady Sands. The Ghoul reconnects with his pre-war past while activating Mr. House in New Vegas as Kazar. Do they call it? It's Kazar, right? They don't say Caesar. Kazar. Legion splinters. The NCR weakens. Deathclaws tear through the strip. Lucy ultimately sabotages Vault-Tec's neural control program and implants Hank with his own chip, wiping his memory. The Vault storyline erupts with the Norm exposing buried executives, Steph starting phase 2, and the Legion marching into New Vegas. So a lot happens in this season. It was a little slow to start, but I do think things picked up pretty quickly. So we can kick it off with Lucy. So at the beginning, her and the ghoul find that woman that was attacked by the rad scorpion. Lucy chooses to save the woman instead of listening to the ghoul, which she immediately turns her into the Legion. So that totally backfires. So definitely the ghoul is more experienced out there on the wastelands than Lucy, but Lucy's progressing a little bit. She's definitely starting to learn how it is up there, but still naive in a way. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Getting better.
A little better.
But yeah.
The Legion crucifies her, and they're split into the factions now after Kazar's death. Then the ghoul comes and rescues her. So that whole... Andy, did you like that Macaulay Culkin cameo and the whole kind of new aspect, the Fallout world? With these Roman soldiers.
Yeah, it was. I mean, whilst it's kind of interesting that a group would go that way after like the apocalypse that happened. I'm not sure I give two hoots about them that much because they haven't really had that much of an impact, so to speak. Like they had that weird moment in there, and then obviously they marched into Vegas at the end. And apparently Macaulay Culkin's character will have a bigger role in season 3. So I guess I probably would reserve a bit more time. But at this moment in time, I don't really care that much about his character in the Legion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they haven't really had that much of an impact for me to be that concerned about them.
Right. Dave, are these people in the video game at all?
Yeah, so and that's an interesting kind of way to look at that because I didn't really consider that aspect. So I've got a background of them. So just seeing them, I was like, hell yeah, the Legion's here. Macaulay Culkin being, he's an original character that wasn't one of the actual game characters. But just seeing them, I got excited because I was like, hell yeah, we got the Legion here. Yeah, they have the hilarious. They discovered all this stuff after the fact. So the first founders believe it was pronounced Kaiser or whatever. So even Macaulay Culkin, when he got when he was auditioning for the job, that was like one of the first things they asked him, he asked them, like, so am I saying Kaiser or Caesar? So he was already well versed in the world of Fallout and everything. He goes, I know it's Kaiser. So I loved it. Yeah. I guess we didn't get a whole lot of background info. So as a new viewer, I guess there's not really to grasp onto yet, other than it's a large faction that's heading to New Vegas for a confrontation that's going to happen in season 3, which is super interesting because that kind of falls in line with some of the plot in New Vegas, slightly different, but a lot of this season it felt like a sub.
Damn. he was cooking too.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask Dave too. He'll be back in a second though. You gonna say something?
Well, I was just going to go back to Lucy because I feel like we started to talk about her and then we kind of skipped past quite quick. But she was so annoying to me through season 1, and obviously it's getting into season 2. Like, and the fact that she's progressed quite a lot in season 2 for me, like, even though she's supposed to be pretty much one of the main characters, I haven't really liked her so far up until maybe the second half of season 2.
Really?
Well, she was always because I've never played the games, so I have that outside perspective of just watching it as like a dramatic TV series rather than a video game adaptation. So to me, she's obviously she's licensed as one of the main characters, and these Vault Dwellers do seem to have this like superior attitude about them and the way they go about things, which she's had for a long time, and the way that justice should be done and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's not how it's going to work out there, is it? In the on the surface, so especially the bit obviously when she gets all drugged up and she's just like happily killing people left, right, and center. That was hilarious. So yeah, for me, like, Lucy as a character has only kicked into the likability side of things in the second half of the season.
Totally. I was worried she was going to start wearing thin a bit just because, like, I dropped, so I don't know exactly what Andy said at the very start. But yeah, the first scene we see with her, it's like, okay, so she's still naive. She doesn't want to shoot these clearly deviant, fiends, or no, who are they? The cons. Clearly doesn't want to, hurt these people either. So it's like, okay, are we going to get more of this Lucy, trying to fight this the way the life is in the wasteland. And we didn't. I thought it was fun watching the progression of her getting dirtier and dirty with things, still keeping that sense of humanity, towards the end of the season, but she has her edge that she needs to survive in the wasteland now. So I thought they did it pretty well with her this season.
Yeah, agreed. And the scene you're talking about where she was killing people, that's with the ghoul too, right? When he's doing all the gunslinger stuff. That was a pretty awesome scene in the score.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
nitpick.
Oh, with the gun.
It's just such a famous song. It's Big Iron, Marty Robbins. It's about a sheriff with a pistol on his hip, a big iron, and he takes out this outlaw. And so I just wanted to see a revolver on somebody's hip during the scene, some just pull out a revolver and cap somebody in the head with it during but it was great to see such an iconic song used right off the bat. I'm not kidding. I think that song was in my playlist for my wedding. It's a classic. So,
right. And still under the Lucy umbrella, she goes to the NCR camp. So Dave, how familiar are you with the NCR? I feel like they weren't in it a ton this season. Definitely had a couple spots here and there. I think it's going to pick up more the next season.
They kind of teased it as there was only like 3 surviving members left at that one point where they came upon the outpost, but really they were just abandoned, which you come across NCR abandoned outposts all the time in the game, but there is a larger force out there. So yeah, it showed them at the end of the season marching into, is it Freetown? I forgot. No, that's from another thing. I forgot the name of this one is, but yeah, they're going to be a big force. And I would imagine they dive into a lot more in season 3. I mean, they teased it last season too with Moldover, and that the whole group that was at Shady Sands, that was the NCR. They showed the flag there, the New California Republic flag. So it's been teased. They'll definitely be big in season 3. I don't know how excited I am for it, but yeah.
Right. So some of this Lucy and Hank stuff. So he's been kidnapping wastelanders and planting control chips, and she like captures him, says she's going to take him back to Vault 33 for justice. It's like, yeah, we'll see how easy that's going to be. Probably not going to work out. And Hank kind of starts manipulating her a little bit, like he's trying to like have a nice dinner with her, like, yeah, we can go back to things they were before. And Lucy, you can tell she like kind of wants to do it, but then at the end she's like, wait, this isn't right. We can't be mind controlling people out there. But you see the people working in the office and they're all like having a great time. They're super nice to each other, like working together, doing that weird song. So I guess, Andy, what side do you fall on? Do you think this whole mind control thing is working, or is it a little too much, even though people have lost their minds?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, like, from what we've seen throughout season 1 and maybe even the flashbacks of season 2, is like, how did Hank have the capabilities to continue this research and turn it into a much more miniaturized version than it was and perfect it the way that he did? I didn't seem to have that background to me, so that was a little bit out there for me in terms of just like, if you're trying to make it a realistic thing, he's working on his own, capturing people, bringing them in, working on miniaturizing the tech and finding all the right frequencies to make it work. So
he's a genius.
That was a little bit, oh yeah, clearly. But yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to have an office that works like that? We've all had office jobs, I'm sure, where we go in and everyone's a fucking arse to work with. So who wouldn't want to go in and it just be happy days for the 8 or 9 hours that you're doing stuff and just work in harmony and get it done? So, I mean, I'm not exactly the hero type, so I'm gonna side with Hank on this one in terms of just like let him get shit done and let him just work it out and just bring peace to fucking New Vegas.
Yeah.
They did regarding Hank. It was a solid job of kind of showing the level of disconnect he's at right now. We saw the Shady Sands kind of history. We got that. I think it was episode 2 where the guy comes in and patrolling the Mojave almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter, and he's wheeling in the nuclear bomb, and that ends up setting off Shady Sands. And then once it detonates, we see Hank back, washing his clean hands as he's got blood on his hands for murdering an entire city, and he gets the notice saying detonation successful. So he just gets confirmation that he just wiped out thousands of innocent people, and he walks on over and reads Lucy a bedtime story and as happy as can be. And it's just like, oh yeah, this fool is completely detached from humanity at this point. Right. So that was interesting. I like the background of Shady Sands and Maximus there too with that. But
yeah. And with that, the lady from the flashbacks that tells Cooper to hand over the chip to the president. You see her later, and her like head is just tied up to this machine and everything, and she's just saying, "Kill me, kill me." That was wild. And of course, she gives her that mercy kill. Brutal.
Call it a mercy kill, but like having Bruce Lee been stuck in that jar for centuries, and then that's the
Right.
you get put out of your misery. Cool. Did anyone else have a thing that, because obviously when they're in the car in that flashback and he hands the chip over to good old, what was it, Clancy Brown?
Clancy Brown, Mr. Krabs.
Think that was it like a mutant that saved the ghoul earlier in the season? Was that not the same voice? Was that, that gave me the very much impression that could have been the president?
I think that was confirmed to be the voice of Ron Perlman, who voiced the super mutant, which has its own ties because he voiced some stuff in the second Fallout game ever and was on record that he was paid $50 in a sandwich to do that. And he thought nothing of the franchise. And all of a sudden it turned into this massive thing. And they were asking him to come back and he didn't, I don't think so. Yeah, that was a nice little nod to that Ron Perlman legacy. But that's an interesting thought. They do have similar deep voices there. Yeah. Kind of was like a green Thanos. That was cool though. That super mutant tease. That's a whole nother storyline in New Vegas. There's a whole community of super mutants. So I'm curious to see how they're going to go about that. But it's an interesting aspect.
Dude, I hate those guys in the Fallout 4, the super
Pain in the
mutants.
ass. Yeah.
Dude, I just run away from them most of the time because there's like 6 of them and they have like dogs and stuff and they have big guns. They like rockets they shoot at you. It's like, I'm not going around this.
Yeah. Well, and he told, which I guess we'll get into it. He said he's on the side of the ghoul. So I think we're going to see them more popping up in season 3 too. But he looked good. The first look at it, I thought that was pretty sweet. I think that got fans hyped.
Yeah. Well, I was going to move on to Hank, but I feel like we kind of talked about his whole mind control stuff, and there's a little bit more in the finale. We'll talk about what happens there at the end. Anything else you want to talk about with Hank? I mean, we are covering the flashbacks too, so should be good.
Yeah.
I guess the engaged to Steph was kind of interesting.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
That was
Canadian.
Right.
Yeah, because obviously her big reveal that she's an original from before the vaults and not someone that was born in there, and the whole xenophobic "she's Canadian" sort of thing.
Yeah, that was funny.
How dare you not be an American and be in this vault sort of attitude. But I mean, weird that obviously she's worked her way through, because obviously we've seen the flashbacks how she managed to work her way into there. I'm intrigued where they're going with her and being part of that storyline moving forward, because there's obviously more to her flashbacks than what we were given in this season, especially when she's communicating with whoever it was at the end to start obviously stage 2,
right?
But the flashbacks for me were actually by far the more interesting of this bit of season for me than the up-to-date bit.
Yeah. Usually it gets a little annoying sometimes when they flip so often back to flashbacks, but it worked really well. Every time we went to a flashback, I was like, oh, nice, let's do it. Like, I'm in. I'm ready for whatever is coming next with this, instead of being annoyed. Yeah.
Well, we can talk about the flashbacks, and let's move right into it. Yeah, so the early implant trials don't work. It obviously explodes their heads. He's using it on guys in the streets. Moldaver convinces Cooper to spy on his wife, because obviously there's more to that than he knows. And she talks, he spies on her. And what does she say? Maybe we should just drop the bombs ourselves to make sure this happens. So that's when he really starts to get on her tail. And then she orders Cooper to kill House and retrieve the cold fusion device. And Cooper only wants to retrieve the device, doesn't want to be killing people. So the flashbacks overall, I feel like, did they even show there's more flashbacks happening in season 3, right? Like, they're not done with that storyline yet. I kind of wish they wrapped it up a little bit quicker instead of having like 2 seasons of flashbacks, but it is a pretty big part of the story as well.
Yeah, well, they're revealing stuff slowly. I mean, we ended season 1 thinking his wife was a scumbag, but now season 2, we've found out more in this flashback. It turns out she was pretty much being blackmailed, which You know, a lot of that going around. So she was blackmailed to kind of step in and be like, well, if I'm in this position, I'm going to try to utilize it as best to protect my family if I'm stuck being in this position. Whereas season 1, we just kind of figured out she's one of the greed corporate monsters that, you know, is fully in on this. But now, you know, by the end of the season, I'm like, okay, I'm actually hoping Coop finds his wife now. Instead of last season 1, it's like, she's evil. Who cares about finding her? Janie, yeah, find your daughter, but who cares about this woman who wanted to end the world?
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. You know, it was cool. We got the Coop flashback in the power suit in the episode, which I think was my favorite episode of the season, if not at the top, which was episode 4, Demon in the Snow, when they're fighting in Alaska and the Death Claws show up. And this is before the bombs are dropped. So it's like, hold on. I thought Death Claw was a nuclear fallout, you know, type of creation, but it turns out no, there was somebody else in the background whipping up Death Claws and other things similar to this. So that whole flashback to the war, it was cool finally seeing Coop in the war that he talked about, even though we didn't really get to see much action of it. But I like that.
Well, isn't the law to the Death Claws that they were a government creation?
Oh,
They
okay.
weren't just like a nuclear thing that they were designed by the government to be their fighting machines.
By the Enclave, which is what we learn about, is basically the U.S. government has turned into in the wasteland. But yeah, you know, if you're a newcomer watching it, you're just thinking, okay, Death Claws in the Death Claws in the wasteland. It must just be a factor of the bombs being dropped and the mutations. But yeah, it was good old U.S. government created.
It was interesting in the flashbacks, the interaction you get between House and Coops, because House is introduced as being like a douche, essentially, like, you know, the one who above all who knows everything, blah blah blah. And obviously, as you get to the end of the season, the flashbacks, he was basically outplayed and outmaneuvered in a way, with not only obviously the way that he thought, or when he thought the bombs were going to be dropped, but obviously everything else going on with the Enclave and things like that. So he's like, there's other people at work that you know, basically managed to outsmart me. And then so his interactions with Coop and the Ghoul then make it really, really interesting vibe going on between them. So that was actually a really good part for me. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, he's written very well because he's supposed to be the smartest man in the world, and in all of his conversations and everything, you get that vibe from him. You feel like, yeah, he is.
It's that Howard Stark vibe, isn't it?
Absolutely, he's got that cockiness. He's got that just shit-eating grin as he's maybe even it seems like he's being outmaneuvered, but yeah, he's always got a contingency plan to his contingency plans. I thought it was done really well, the whole House thing. He's a big character in New Vegas. I was gonna say something, but it could end up being a spoiler for season 3, so I won't. I'll hold off on that one. Yeah, I don't even want to risk it.
Say it.
It's just you run into him at some point in the video game towards the end.
Hey,
he's still out there.
Yeah, he basically says a third party's probably going to drop the bomb. It's not going to be him or Vault-Tec, so maybe it's the Enclave. US
well, and
government?
he knew, yeah, he mentioned about the Enclave. He said, "Your demon in the snow." He's telling Coop, "I was there too, or I saw that, what you saw too." And that's when I realized there was a third player in this game that we are in, and that ends up being the president of the United States in the Enclave, which is the same place where the doctor and the dog came from in season 1, where they had the little cold fusion he ejected into his neck. That entire plot line started at the Enclave's home base.
I don't even know the Enclave because they had the best power armor in the game because it was the government stuff, obviously. So it was like black, hella nice. All the other stuff's kind of rusted, a little broken down. They had the Supreme stuff
without the design flaws. Yeah,
exactly. Let's see here. We can move on to we can talk about the finale a little bit more. Maximus, the Shady Sands flashback. That was pretty interesting. Seeing that he's the only survivor from that whole explosion. His parents saved him, put him in the fridge.
What, the Indiana Jones moment? Where
Fridge solution.
What do you think of that?
Building just crumbled, but the fridge is standing still. It's fine.
It's fine. Did that work for you, Andy? Was that a cool little kind of backstory to add to Maximus's character?
At first, there are moments throughout this season where I think at times the way that they work the flashbacks, you can't. I personally, I can't say this for everyone, at times get slightly confused between the length of time for where the flashbacks were, because obviously most of the flashbacks are to before the time the bombs were dropped. and then you see this one for Maximus. But but I'm thinking obviously he's not 200 years old, so that didn't happen 200 years ago. That was like 25 years ago, maybe, or something like that. So there were times I got a little confused as to where the timeline was and how long ago something like that was, because it took me. Okay, it only took me a few minutes to work it out, but still, I was confused. Going, okay, Maximus isn't 200 years old, so why are they showing us having one of the bombs dropped there? And went,
Right.
okay, that wasn't there. And obviously, you get the actual extra addition to that story a bit later on, don't you?
Yeah.
With Hank
Right.
in controlling them and stuff. So, so that kind of then obviously gives it a bit more sense. So, nice addition to it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it impacted my vision of or my liking or dislike of Maximus either way, because it just like he seems to have had a massive turnaround this season from where he was in season 1 anyway. The fact that in season 1 he was like the snoveling little runner guy, and obviously took over the armor sort of by mistake and lied about it, and then this season he's completely turned around to be the enforcer for them, and he's just doing everything anyway, and he's happy killing people and things left, right, and center. And then all of a sudden he seemed to get his moral code back. When the guy's name I can't remember, but the guys from Eternal and Kenobi shows up.
Oh,
and
Kumail
wants to kill-
Nanjiani.
Yeah, that's it. And wants to kill the Ghoul kids, and he obviously steps in there to stop that with that cool like hammer. That I would like to get my hands on, to be fair, and use that a few times. So yeah, it just seems a bit weird that he had a complete flip around to be like an enforcer who's happy to be murdering left, right, and center for the first half of the season. Then again has that moral change around. So adding his backstory to it doesn't seem to add into the character, if you know what I mean, to me, because he's just like flipped and flopped all over the place since this show's begun.
Yeah. To me, the Shady Sands flashback here wasn't so much for Maximus's sake. I feel like we got his in season 1. It shows him stepping out of the fridge. He looks at the power armor and he goes, "That's who I want to be." And that was about all we needed there. I mean, we learned his dad was a good man. We learned that he, was raised by 2 loving parents, I guess. But outside of that, I feel like, that flashback served more of a purpose for Hank and what he did to Shady Sands and all that. But Andy, you mentioned the whole 200-year thing, and Maximus isn't 200 years old. I am still confused about certain characters, like Moldaver. She was around with Coop before. She was the one who recruited him into spying. How is she still the same age 200 years later? Because she ain't a ghoul, and she wasn't working with Vault Tech, so she didn't get frozen. So there's a few characters that I am still confused. Like, well, it's been 200 years and you're all the same players who were involved right before the war are all still the same age or a little older 200 years later. So I'm kind of lost on a few of those there.
It's crazy Coop survived 200 years out there, though. That's wild. Like, ghoul or not ghoul.
Right.
Well, that's another one, isn't it? Because we've seen other ghouls where they sort of like disintegrate, or if they don't have that medicine, they turn into like a zombie type ghoul. Whereas I think he was it correct saying he was, because obviously when we first meet him in like season 1, he's been buried for a while, isn't he? So is it just the fact that he's only survived 200 years because he was buried for large portions of that, and he's only been out periodically?
Yeah, I'd be curious because they said some line that he had been buried for the last set of years, but he had the IV going into the grave with that drug that keeps ghouls alive. Like when they found his grave, there was literally an IV stand with that stuff. And a few other ghouls have said things to him like, well, you were always the best. You always were able to get what you needed, So somehow he was still able to acquire those drugs that other ghouls couldn't because of his skill set. But yeah, who knows how many of those 200 years, maybe he was, put under at some point and woken up 50 years into this. Maybe he was buried underground for 30 years. We really don't know. I'm kind of expecting to see his origin as the ghoul in season 3 in a flashback. So I would imagine we'll get some answers.
I mean, we need not only that, but we need the proper like story of how, because obviously we got the flashback of when the bombs are first dropped and he's with his daughter at her birthday party or whatever it was.
Right.
So how they managed to get split up, so his wife and daughter get put into a vault, but he doesn't and becomes the ghoul.
Oh,
so
that
is the flashback we need for him.
Well, not only that, they're separated and he's doing birthday parties. Even though all this stuff popped off and he knows the bombs are about to be dropped, but somehow he's got his daughter back. He's doing birthday parties, living a normal life. So, yeah, I'm curious how that came to be still, too.
Because the last we saw, he got arrested, right? That's where kind of
Yeah.
left off with him, so he's
The
arrested right now.
flashback, yeah. Yeah. He
Oh,
kinda
and
like, let-
most,
in
yeah,
the flashback, yeah, he's like, let me
Yeah.
take the blame. So, and I'm
Right.
just gonna. But he is by
Yeah.
far the best character in this show for me.
Oh, for sure. Walton
Yeah.
Goggins is on a heater.
Yeah, oh, yeah, in both flashbacks and current timeline. So
Yeah.
by far the reason I watch this above all else is to see his story. That's why the flashbacks I think were so good, because they
Mhm.
concentrated obviously mostly on him.
Yeah.
So
Totally. Just the ghoul, like he's got that Mando swag to him when you just watch him walk into a scene and he's got the tattered, trench coat on with the cowboy hat and it's all tattered and beat up, but it just looks so dope when he walks into a scene. He's just got the aura when he comes in. So any sequence with Walton Goggins is just such a joy in the show. They nailed that cast. I mean, they just nailed it.
Let's bring it back to Maximus. The Brotherhood kind of played a big role in the first couple episodes, and they kind of bring it back in the finale. Camille and Johnny comes into town from the Commonwealth. That's from Fallout 4. That's kind of the main area in Fallout 4. So,
Because they're in like Boston, right?
Yeah,
On the East
right,
Coast?
Boston. Yeah.
Okay.
So the Elder Quintus is kind of pushing for a civil war. He wants Maximus to kill Harkness, and Harkness is Camille and Johnny, right? Pretty sure. But then he kills him anyway. Yeah, right. So he kills him anyway. He doesn't want to do it at first, but he kills him anyway. Thaddeus was an awesome side character. I felt like that Thaddeus is maybe like probably the best side character in the show, I'd say.
He's so funny. He's so
So-
funny. Every scene that man is in kills me.
With the kids too, even in the shop he's working with them, that was funny. And then when his arm falls off and he's like asking when he has like a mouth growing out of the side of his body, and he's like, this is normal for a ghoul, right?
normal.
And the ghoul's like, no, I don't think so.
when his arm's fallen off at the end and he steadies the rifle between his toes.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
They're walking in the slow motion scene, building up the action. His arm just dropped. The comedic timing of that scene, and he picks it up and he's like, "No, I'm okay.
Oh.
I'll get it." And Maximus is like, "Maybe you should hang back this time, Dad." He's like,
Yeah.
"Are you sure?" Your arm fell off. Like,
Or when they're all gambling on the fight between Maximus and the Death Claws, and he stands up there and he puts his arm that fell up in the air and like throws it down to get everybody's attention.
he's walking with the ghoul trying to bond with him, like trying to catch up with him. So you're a ghoul too, huh? Yeah, I'm just waiting for my nose to fall off, damn
Yeah.
thing won't. And again, there's been a lot of theories of season 1 going, I don't think Thaddeus is going to turn into a ghoul. I think he's going to turn into a mutant of some kind, or a centaur, I think, is a specific type of mutant in the Fallout world. So people have been theorizing he's not necessarily a ghoul, and sure enough, that extra set of teeth on his neck is not the best sign.
His arm's fallen off. He's got an extra mouth on his body. That's not cool, like.
Dude, just so funny though. I love him. What a surprise character. I never thought I'd want more of coming into season 2, but he's been great.
And what kind of sparks it all off is after they kill Camille and Johnny, Thaddeus gets in the power armor and pretends to be him. And then they go back to the place and they're like trying to set up all these plans and asking him all these questions. And he's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Like, just no idea what's going on. That kind of, and then people start like fighting each other. And then the Civil War erupts, and we'll see how that goes in season 3. But are you guys like big on the Brotherhood? Is that kind of I kind of like them more in season 1. I feel like that was more closely tied with them, and that is a big thing in Fallout 4. The Brotherhood is like one of the main storylines, one of the people you can choose to side with in the end. So
same with New Vegas too. Yeah,
okay.
I think they're a big staple. I don't. Andy, did you like them compared to season 1?
Again, I think I'm not that fussed about them overall. I mean, season 1 they were very like cultish.
Yeah,
The
right.
way they go about things, and obviously trying to find any tech from the old world, so to speak, and hide it away. And yeah, the fact that they raided Area 51 is hilarious. In this season, that was brilliant. And they find all this, but they find obviously all this tech again, but they don't seem like they care about disposing of it this time, especially when they found that obviously the cold fusion thing that's been hidden in Area 51 for all this time. So. And they want to use it to obviously take over and make the Brotherhood dominant with their little pact that they were trying to make between the different sections. So, but at the end of the day, yeah, they don't like bother me that much, like, because just the old dude's annoying. Like,
Right.
and Maximus should have killed him at the end. Like, this is a dude that goes out in his armor and kills people left, right, and center, and kills like mutants or whatever, and he just couldn't even shoot this old man.
Yeah.
It's like Stormtrooper aim. It's just convenient when you need it to, and convenient to miss when you need it to, isn't it? So
Yeah, it felt like intentional that he missed. Like, yeah, and I don't know if they just did like the father figure role for him, and then by the end of it, he finally saw through his BS and was like, "Oh, this dude doesn't care about me at all. I'm just a soldier for him." And I don't even think he believed it, that he was a good dude and a father figure, Maximus. That is, I think he was just abandoned and like was grasping onto something. It was like, this is my meaning. He's my father figure. He's a good. And then it was like, okay, no, he's clearly a piece of trash who does not care about me. My favorite thing of the Brotherhood was they're raiding Area 51. They open up a freezer and there's an alien frozen. Guy goes, "Holy shit!" Throws the alien out of it. An ice box.
Oh, yeah. That was brilliant.
So no, I think the Brotherhood was more entertaining for me in this season.
Okay.
Bit cartoonish, but again,
They're
that's kind of the
more
vibe of the
entertaining
show. Yes,
compared
definitely.
to season 1 for sure. Yeah.
So I liked him. Yeah.
Yeah, season 3 is about to pop off with the Brotherhood, the Enclave, NCR, Legion. Just gonna be pretty wild. Whoa. All right, the vaults. Save this part for, kind of towards the end here. So we talked about Steph. She tries to do the wedding, which Chet has no idea about. He finds the Canadian ID, and she finds the Pit Boy from Hank's box, this like really cool gold one, and activates phase 2. So of the vault plan, they're having, obviously maybe phase 2 is send people above ground. Is that what it is? Or is it like clean up the people who don't belong? Is that what phase 2 is? So what are you thinking, Andy, for season 3 in the vaults?
If it wasn't for like the deviation of the Steph storyline, the vaults would be the most boring part of this show by a long way. Season 1, the vaults were a little bit interesting, but now they've like tried to split them up into groups, and there's like not much going on. And we're running out of water, and the guy had his like
parties,
incest club.
Yeah.
And although you did have that like ginger like brother and sister cousins or whatever they were that were all over each other, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But apart from that, they're like, "Oh, being ninth cousin is not incest. Go away." But yeah, that was all weird and completely unnecessary. It just wasn't interesting to me at all. So I am interested to know what the plan is with the vaults, though. So because obviously we've got the side story where like Lucy's brother defrosts all the other ones, and they go out, and then they find out that he's not who he says he is and try and kill him or whatever. Although the stuff with the roaches was quite funny as well. They could let them loose out the lift. But then at the same point, like, yeah, I want to know what the plan is and how Steph's more involved with this than she appears to be, having the fact that she came down from Canada and obviously made her way in with Hank. And so how is she so far involved and knows, because she wasn't like a vault leader before, was she?
Right.
So she must have been frozen for a while and defrosted, probably by Hank. And then she's in on the plan with the Enclave. So does that mean obviously that we probably know Hank's involved with the Enclave as well? Because obviously he was out on the radio as well, wasn't he? Going, I'm going to continue your work. I don't know if you're still out there, or this sort of stuff. So obviously that's probably at the time didn't know that's who was trying to contact. By the end of it, that's who was trying to contact. So the vaults are generally quite boring overall, I think now. But I just want to obviously conclude Steph's storyline and find out a bit more about her and how she became so involved, and then obviously what phase 2 is.
Yeah. So at first I thought he was talking to Mr. House when he showed up and said, by the end of this, you're going to be begging to work with me. I'm going to complete your work. I thought he was talking to Mr. House because Mr. House has that scene where he's using the autonomous man. He's the one who introduces that thing, and Hank's working on it saying, I will complete your work. So I was pretty sure he was talking to Mr. House. Yeah, now I think it has to do with the Enclave that Hank was reaching out to there. But regarding phase 2, so Bud did say something about future enterprise ventures is what phase 2 was all about. Now that is FEV. There's something called FEV in the games, and it's a virus. It's not called the future enterprise ventures. It's called something else. It's like a something virus, obviously.
Yeah,
Um,
'cause that's what Lucy's brother saw on the computer, didn't he, when he was at
Yes.
the Vault-Tec office?
That's right. He did. They gave it a little hint there too. So I'm thinking again, the whole plan was for Vault-Tec to wipe out the surface, and then Reclamation Day, they all go to the surface and they reclaim, yada yada. So since that didn't happen, people have Shady Sands was thriving for a bit, and Hank had to bomb it again after the nuclear meltdown. So it's not happening. So I'm thinking phase 2 is a second attempt to wipe out the surface dwellers so they can come do the whole reclamation thing.
So the FEV is forced evolutionary virus.
There you go.
Okay. Which, from the research I did at the end of season 2, is possibly also linked to how people become ghouls.
And super mutants too, I think.
Yeah. So there's a theory that was released into the atmosphere by the government, and then the interaction of radiation with people that had the FEV is what turned them into mutants and ghouls in the first place. So that is probably going to play a big part in season 3.
Yeah, because to talk about the finale, right before Lucy activates the chip on Hank, he pushes the button on this thing, which sets it in motion. I don't understand exactly what he was doing there. Do you understand what's going on? Is it mind control over everyone who's had that chip put in them?
I thought he was kickstarting something, but then by the end of it, I was like, did he just lobotomize himself?
That's what I thought.
I thought
he just did it to himself.
I thought it was I thought it was something going out to the world, maybe, but I don't know.
That's what I thought too. It just didn't show anything after the fact, so I was like, maybe that was just lobotomizing himself. But that's kind of a weird move. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't just me, because I feel like there's more to that we'll see in the next season. Because I feel like that was maybe, is that part of phase 2? I mean, there's no way he could have known. Does he have a Pit Boy on his arm? He could have saw that.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. No, he could.
The Norm stuff was all right, I guess. Him breaking out and trying to figure things out, it was okay, but we'll see what happens. So the finale, the Deathclaw battle with Maximus was pretty cool. He gets his ass beat pretty bad, but he's obviously fighting 7 of them by himself, so that's expected. He finally learns how to kind of use the armor more and more as the battle's going on, starts to kind of use the missiles and the other thing, gets a little confidence. So did this work for you? Was this a good action set piece with some big monsters? Andy?
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, simply because when they obviously first go in, you think there's only 4 of them, because that's what it shows at the start. And then he's taking out 3, and he calls you cool, we've only got 1 left to do, and then more keep walking through, and you're like, damn, how many did they put in there? And you'd think a bunch of the strength they're showing in the Deathclaws, they'd be able to have broken through that barrier that was between the Vegas Strip and where all the people were living pretty easily before, but somehow they couldn't break through a chained up fence. Even though one of them just stood up in the doorway of that building before and destroyed everything above him. So, but yeah, I still thought the fight itself was pretty cool. Enjoying him using the suit a bit more. And the weird sort of fake faith that everyone had in him, because it said NCR on his armor. And then obviously just the fact that he comes out of it, and then obviously that is a shoot, trying to shoot above with the rifle to his toes. It's just I mean, that was brilliant itself, as we already mentioned. But yeah, this battle as a whole, I did enjoy it, to be fair.
Yeah. I thought it was entertaining too. It was fun seeing a power suit actually be used, right? And obviously he was given a pretty good one that was weaponized. Looked like Tony Stark had gotten his hands on that one and fixed it with a few different weapon variations. So that was pretty. Yeah, because some of them didn't work quite well. So Justin Hammer might have had a part to play in that one. But yeah, it was a fun sequence. I thought the Deathclaws for a TV series and how many of them were, they looked pretty good. So I thought they did well with that. And I think the coolest part was the very end where he's being overran and we get the sniper shot, and it's not Thaddeus in his toes. It's a classic NCR scout sniper with the classic orange reflection on his goggles with the helmet, the classic Fallout Ranger you see on the covers of the early games. So that was a sweet slow motion reveal shot of the NCR Ranger taking out the Deathclaw. So I thought that was super cool. I think Fallout fans love that too.
And the slow-mo kill, isn't that a thing in Fallout?
Yeah, it's like using VATS.
Yeah. Right.
Mm.
So
Yep,
the little
slows it
tease.
down. You pick what body part you want to aim at, shows the
Mhm.
percentages and all that. Yeah, no, so it was a cool game nod for that whole scene there.
And so we talked about it already, but Cooper gets arrested. That is pretty interesting. I do. And Andy, you brought up the whole the birthday party is when the bomb drops off. So I'm wondering how he gets out of, being arrested by the enclave, the government, back to being a normal man. But I'm sure they'll wrap that up in the next season, right?
Yeah, I would hope so. And do we know, is there a set final season yet? Do we know how many seasons we've got for
I
Fallout?
don't think so.
Yeah, they came out and said that the story had been written to be done and wrapped up properly within 4 to 5 seasons. So they're
Okay.
aiming for it to go 4 to 5 seasons for this story to run its course and be played out properly and finished properly.
That makes sense.
That's pretty cool. All right. And I've heard they may do some video game spins off of the story they're telling in this show too.
Oh yeah,
for the next one.
They came out and said that the events of the season 2 of Fallout would directly affect the events of season of Fallout 5. Sorry.
Okay. And it's
Mm.
super interesting because again, I won't spoil anything, but at the end of New Vegas, you pretty much you have choices to make. You can choose what side you want to support, and it's leading into the confrontation at New Vegas, where the NCR, the Legion, everybody is converging. Mr. House has his deal there, so it's building to a climax at the end of New Vegas. And apparently, this show takes place like 20-something years after the events of New Vegas, so it's almost like a tease at how that ended up rolling out. Wasn't my storyline because I wiped out the entire Legion, so they shouldn't still be there, but they're playing off somebody else's game, I guess.
That's funny. The ghoul. The ghoul in Mr. House. He has to put the Pip-Boy on to find his family. He's going through Vault-Tec facility. Finally finds his family's cryopods, but they're empty, with the clue pointing to Colorado. So that's pretty interesting. I wonder how old his daughter's going to be. I guess she's probably an adult by now, because it was probably like 20 years ago. Who knows exactly, but
yeah.
And when they see him, what are they going to think of him?
Yeah.
So this is going to be a very interesting.
Ryan Reynolds,
reunion.
is that you?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anything stick out with even the interactions between Mr. House and the ghoul in the finale?
I mean, just be interesting to see a bit more. I mean, because Dave mentioned that in the game you do actually get to see him. So whether he's just uploaded his consciousness to the computer using the cold fusion tech, because that's what he wanted before. Because he says he wants to get his hands on this because he wants to make himself live forever.
Right.
And so obviously I didn't click onto the fact that it just meant he was going to upload himself to a computer system.
So we don't think there's a body anywhere? You think he's just a computer?
I don't know, because like Dave's cast the doubt now because you get to see him in a later game, and I did obviously suspect, like, is he actually somewhere? Maybe he's just his body's in like a stasis chamber somewhere, but his mind has been set free to
That's what I
work
would
over
guess.
that period of time. But then the fact that obviously, like, has he still been working behind the scenes the whole time, or was he just laying dormant, waiting to be his computer to be turned on so he could then get back to it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I think they'll go a different path than the video game per se. I don't know. I mean, I could tell you what happens at the end there if you want in the video game, but I don't,
This is 20 years after the video game?
It is. It's 25 years after the fact. So
spoiler alert, Jesus.
Wait. The show is 25 years after the video game, New Vegas.
Is it about Mr. House's like true identity?
Not true identity, but yeah, him and kind of how the robot thing functions there. What the setup is in the game. I don't know if they're going to go with the same strategy.
Yeah, maybe don't say it. Just
hold
to be
off.
Safe.
Yeah.
Just to be safe, I guess. Yeah, because I feel like it'll be similar in a way.
No, the most thing I was interested with this whole reveal and Mr. House, and I know it's not exactly the same, but that Congress's woman's head, again, going back to that, they were utilizing a living head to power this entire thing. And the whole reason they kept her was because she was kind, helpful, and not aggressive. So she was left to live for 200 years as just a head being tortured because she was a really good person. And that's the basis they're using to use this. So the whole thing was just horrifying thing to think of. But I thought there would be a different, I didn't expect to see her head there being controlled. That was the biggest kind of surprise for me in the finale there. It was gnarly.
Well, obviously the big reveal as well that there is the Enclave. And obviously because it shows when Steph sends the message to start phase 2 and you just see the big complex, don't you? You don't obviously get any more information about it and see it. So I was like, okay, cool. So it confirmed, third party or higher power, whatever that's pulling strings behind everything, and whether they want. I mean, obviously, I don't know if it states in the games what the state of the rest of the world is, or if this is just the situation in America alone. Like, is this the situation in Canada, Mexico, or because surely, like, if this was a situation where this was America only and there was an enclave trying to do things, maybe the UN or NATO or something would try and step in, surely? If a corporation had just dropped atomic bombs on America, surely the rest of the world would be reacting to that.
That is true.
Hope. Yeah. And in New Vegas, they never mention anything outside of the US. There's hints about Boston because of the
Boston's in America, isn't it?
Commonwealth.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's the only, even outside of New Vegas, that's the only area. That's the furthest spot they talk about is Boston on the East Coast, but they never talk about anything outside of the U.S. and New Vegas.
So maybe the rest of the world is fine. The U.S. is bombed, and
I can't imagine that's the case. Even in the show, Canada was already a mess before the bombs were even dropped in the U.S., which is why Steph was fleeing Canada to get into the U.S. And there was this crazy militarized border. So stuff was already popping off globally. But I don't know if we'll ever get the answer about what.
Yeah. Just me thinking outside the box going, surely the rest of the world would step in if this was just the situation in America, or was the rest of the world bombed at the same time?
Right. No, we only think about America here in American shows.
Come on, Jack.
Don't be silly. This is the world.
Look at a map, bro. All right, well, I guess Maximus and loosely. Maybe she's going to be loosely later after.
Loosely after, yeah. Baby.
They reunite as the Legion.
She's definitely a bit loose.
The Legion marches into New Vegas. A post-credit scene. Dane retrieves Liberty Prime blueprints for Quintus. So that's like the badass power armor. So a lot of good teases for season 3. Anything else you guys want to add? I want to get into our kind of overall review and rating for the season. Okay. Dave?
I'm ready to roll. Oh,
yeah. Let's give a little overall thoughts and rating.
Yeah, I thought it was a strong follow-up to season 1. A really fantastic season 1, which I really enjoyed. Season 1, they nailed the adaptation of the video game, and I didn't know how they'd be able to follow up with it, but I think they somehow did it even more. It felt like a new chapter out of the New Vegas video game, like I mentioned. There was more Easter eggs, more plotline hints, more gruesome deaths, kind of all repeated from the first season, but they somehow stepped it up a little bit. It didn't feel like they just stuck to the same formula that worked. Wash, rinse, repeated. It felt like they elevated stuff and still kept the things that we love from season 1. And that's always, that's not always easy to do in shows like this. So I thought they did great for a follow-up season. All around, I thought it was as good and a little bit better in a few different ways from season 1, and I'm hyped for season 3. So rating wise, I gave it an 8.6. I don't remember what I gave season 1. I didn't find any ratings in our notes. I don't know if we ever rated it. But season 2, we're going 8.6.
I wrote mine down.
Shoddy note taking, David.
I know, man. I know. I don't have anybody's ratings.
I'm pretty sure in the group chat you admitted that you didn't do a rating. So let's put that out there and stitch you up.
Yeah, love.
Andy, you want to go next? And maybe did you rate season 1? Maybe when you do at the end, maybe give your season 1 rating as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I don't think I keep track of them, to be fair, like you guys do in a notebook somewhere.
Oh wow, bad note taking.
You know why? I've got a good memory.
I don't.
I'm not even sure I could give you consistent ratings off the top of my head.
Well, just tell me how it compared to season 1 for you.
I'm not even sure I rate all 11 Star Wars movies the same way every time. So it's fine. Yeah, so yeah, I did enjoy this season. I thought there was a change up to season one where it didn't feel like there was as much, like, say, mutants or mutant animals in this one, compared to
True.
like the random stuff you find on the surface compared to season one. This did concentrate more on the stories and the evolution of filling in the gaps of the story with the flashbacks to now, which I actually really enjoyed. As I said, I thought Walter Goggins playing playing Coop in the series in the Ghoul was by far the standout character, and acting wise as well. Some bits do get a little bit boring for me with like I said, with the Vault and a little bit of some of the Brotherhood. But overall, it was a really enjoyable season. I am really hyped for season 3 because I've not played, as I said, I've not played the games. So this is like, it's like The Last of Us. I've not played The Last of Us either.
Okay.
So getting to watch things that are very popular video games,
Right.
but without having played them, is quite a new thing for me. Because a lot of the time when they bring out video game adaptations, I've generally seen them. I've played them. Sorry.
Yeah.
So these are new things for me to experience, and so I actually quite like that. Viewing it from the side, so it gives it a new perspective. I'm not burdened, so to speak, with knowledge of the game, or I get to see everything with fresher eyes.
Expectations.
So, yeah, exactly. So I'm not like looking for hints of things. Sometimes it's like I have to ask somebody about a certain quote or a certain hint in there. So like I think we mentioned it before, but there was like a moment when a guy turns around and goes, I need a weapon. I'm just going to use this fan. And I was like, I'm guessing that. And I turned around to my wife and I said, I guess that's a video game hint.
Right.
She's like, yeah, you can use a fan to craft weapons, to craft a weapon in the game. I was like, okay, so I miss out on those little bits, but at the same point, I can guess what the hints are and what the clues are to those.
Yeah.
So it doesn't bring it down for me in any way, or bring the expectation down. So, yep, I really enjoyed this. I'm excited to see where season 3 goes. I think they've got some good storytelling going. Amazon have done a really good job with this. I think season 1 I would probably put at about 7.6. I would probably put this at about 8.2 for season 2.
Wow.
So I do prefer this season over season 1.
Yeah, I need to go back and rewatch season 1 again because I do feel like the first half of this season was a little slow, but it was still very interesting at the same time. I was intrigued. I wanted to watch every episode, but I feel like not a lot happened where they were kind of just like Lucy and the Ghoul were kind of just going around the desert, meeting different people. So it wasn't a lot of plot points, but then the second half of the season, things did pick up a lot with the mind control, the Civil War that's coming in the next season. I feel like next season is going to be really good, but also the flashbacks were pretty interesting. I did like the Maximus storyline of him kind of going off and doing his own thing, going away from the Brotherhood, trying to be his own man. So I had season 1 at an 8.8, actually, pretty close to a 9. I know, Andy, you're a little more tougher than I am, but I feel like it's close to a 9 for me. So I feel like I'm going to put this a little bit lower and give it an 8.5.
So that's fair. Yeah, I am quite harsh.
Yeah.
Because I think I've always said that it seems to be the standard nowadays that like a 6 or a 7 is considered to be like average. And I'm like, no, we're not doing no. Whereas I like to do the scaling properly of like a 5 is average because that's the middle.
That's
so
true.
So I am generally a bit harsher with my scoring system.
No, it makes sense.
But I also agree with you a bit. I suppose, and I treat this like Andor in a way, in terms of like both seasons of Andor. The first half of the season was kind of slow, and then it built up massively in the second half of the season to the crescendo at the end. And I can kind of agree that maybe that's what this season did.
Yeah, I agree. I always thought with the ratings as like letter grades, where like a D is a 60%, a C is 70%. So I feel like if something's a B, I have to give it an 8 at least. So
well, I mean, I'm in England. We have slightly higher expectations from our marks and grades than maybe the good old US does.
It's okay.
So because over here, like I guess like a C is like average,
right?
Over here, so you said like a D is like 60%, which is high. 60% for a D, like a D over here is seen as below average. So we if a C is where you should be as a minimum, like a minimum average grade. A B is then in like, I would say a B is moving up to like the 75-80% mark, and then an A is like 90% and above. So
okay. Yeah.
That's how I treat it anyway. It's
No,
like,
I mean when you're doing a 1 to 10 scale, you should use the 1 to 4 range a little bit more.
yeah, it's
Which
just not everyone just does it. I mean, it's like some of the games I play, or like when we play FIFA and stuff like that, and like 6 is used or a 6.5 is used as the average start off rating for a player.
yeah,
And then you either go up or down from there. And I'm just like, why? That's not the middle range. Why
that's
is
true. That
so
is true.
it's kind of like everything starts off a bit higher, but I try and be a bit more like brutal about it and go like, yeah, 5 should be the middle ground.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, it's interesting you enjoy season 1 more. I just think this ramps up. I guess I'm one of those people that I'd like it when there's a bit more lore to a story.
Mm.
I don't always like shows when they start off and like season 1's brand new and you've got to establish the history and everything.
Figure
that's
things
going
out.
on in that universe. Yeah. And then once you get a season or 2 or 3 seasons into a show, like Stargate SG-1, for example, I'm not really a fan of like season 1 or 2, but once you start getting more of the history and lore
Right.
of like the Stargate universe and the characters themselves having then had history together, it becomes more interesting to me. So
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. I'll be doing a little gaming stream tomorrow around 6 p.m. Pacific time. So come check it out. Andy, hopefully get his first one in over the weekend. Spider-Man 2. You haven't played that game before.
no.
Did you play Miles Morales?
I have played, yeah.
Okay.
The last couple of months, I've played Spider-Man and I played Miles Morales.
Okay, cool. Because
Um,
there is a story that goes in order, so you do have to.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So I've been doing it because we've got pretty much every console in the house, but I tend to stick to the PC and Xbox, and my wife tends to stick to the PS5.
Okay, but
Um,
Spider-Man, PlayStation only,
But
right?
I thought it was about time because it was on my list.
It's a
and,
fun game.
So I got into them. I actually like it's interesting because my wife was asking what did I prefer out of the two, and I was like, Peter's interesting because I use more of like obviously because that's all he's got is the web-based powers, so the web attachments and stuff like that. I use more with Peter, and I barely use them with Miles because he's got like the bioelectricity and stuff,
Right,
and
right.
invisibility, so I tend to use that more. So it's going to be interesting come Spider-Man 2, plus the fact that I'm going to get to play with Venom as well. So I'm actually really excited. to get
Oh
into that.
yeah, that's a fun game. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're starting to come back to me now.
Yeah,
You play back and
that-
forth, and then Venom goes on Peter. You know that, right?
well, I'm pretty sure I knew that. So I'm
Yeah.
trying. I've still avoided a lot of elements because I didn't really watch my wife playing it, so I was trying to stay away from it. 'Cause I knew I would get to it at some point.
Right.
But like you, once I've completed this game, I will be running some polls on YouTube to see where I'm going to go next. Things like I think Ghost of Tsushima's on my list.
Nice.
The Last of Us, because now I got a PlayStation Plus subscription, so I got access to the.
It's a very cinematic game too. It'll probably be good to stream.
I can't remember what else was on my list. I think there was maybe some
Fallout 4. Huh?
I
Maybe.
had thought about going and playing the Fallout games because the series piqued my interest. But I think sometimes there's maybe too much going on and it's more of a battle type game than I would want. So
Right.
Plus, I'm a nerd, so I tend to stick to
Like
Star Wars.
right now for my next poll right now, thinking Red Dead 1 or Red Dead 2, maybe 1. I haven't played 1, but I've played 2 before. People would like that. You ever heard of Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Yeah.
That looks like a fun game to play where you're just like night role playing. Far Cry 6, Skyrim, Uncharted, Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know if I want to play that one, but I know a lot of people like that game, but it seems like
What's the one that's just won Game of the Year? 33?
33 Expedition or something like
I
that.
can't remember the name of it, but I was looking at that and went, "Oh, that's probably a little bit outside my normal realm of what
I don't
would
like
do."
super fantasy where it's like fairies and casting too many spells.
Mm.
Skyrim and Witcher is probably my limit when it comes to fantasy.
I played like 2 hours of Alien Isolation and turned it off. I can't deal with this. My life's stressful enough. I don't need the added anxiety and what's supposed to be downtime. So
Yeah. And Resident Evil comes out, but I don't like horror games really. Last of Us will get you sometimes when you're like going through a dark room with the flashlight. And also in Last of Us, you never have more than 8 bullets, 1 health kit, and a knife.
Oh.
And you're like, I can't use these bullets right now or it'll attract all the other zombies. So you have to like sneak through with a knife. It comes around the corner. Everything's dark. It'll get you sometimes.
oh no, yeah, I'm not sure that's for me. But Assassin's
a fun
Creed
game,
will be
though.
on my list as well. 'cause
It's
I haven't
short
played-
too.
I haven't played Mirage or Shadows yet, and I'm going to get back onto those.
Nice.
So yeah, we've got a bunch of things that we can get through.
Well, stay tuned. Stay subscribed to our YouTube channel, and we'll obviously be posting on all the other social media platforms. Keep you updated on the gaming streams. Check out our James Caan episode coming out in about 2 weeks. And what are we covering next? Anything coming out soon we can gonna cover?
Oof, not really.
Daredevil?
Well, yeah, I mean,
guess.
Daredevil starts in March, doesn't it? So
Okay.
we've
Yeah.
got that coming up. I mean, April is going to be a busy month because Daredevil's out, The Boys comes out in April, more Shadow Lords out.
Oh.
I know Star Wars season's coming up because I'm getting lots of invites to go on shows to review Maul, to review Mando and Grogu. Obviously, in about a month's time, we've got Project Hail Mary comes out as well.
Yeah.
So probably a little bit of a lull for the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're going to do some Week in Geeks and catch up, but you guys are going to be doing Kingdom of the 9 Balls or whatever it is.
That's right.
Welcome
let
back,
me see if
Dave.
I can get the name right. It's Kingdom of the 7.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
That's it. Fucking hell.
Get him
Get
out of
it.
here.
I'm trying to get it. And Game of Honeys or whatever it was. That
Hot D.
So,
Oh, yeah, that's June.
It's hot.
Game of
Trailer drops
Honey.
tomorrow.
Big B people here.
So yeah,
Alright.
so we've actually got a couple of weeks probably of although didn't you say Kingdom of the 7 Balls was finales on Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, that will be our next review episode once Dave schedules a little free time, but we'll wait
Yeah.
for him.
There you go. Appreciate it. We'll make it worth it.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time here at Why So Sidious, a nerd podcast.